Hello, I am Ushnish Sarkar from VECC, who is taking your class on artificial intelligence and applications. This year, due to the COVID-19 hazard, many of the courses have to be taken in this manner through video lectures and presentations. The actual classroom could not be organized, but believe me that I love classrooms. However, it could not be organized. So you can reach me on u.sarkar@vecc.gov.in. So today we are going to start with our first lecture, the lecture 1 on artificial intelligence. And the first lecture will be about the introduction. So what is this? Artificial intelligence is a buzzword these days. But first, let me explain the basic aim of this course that you are taking at the training school. The basic aim is you are getting some acquaintance with the basic ideas so that you can have a conversation with people who belong to the artificial intelligence field, or you can go through literatures or papers as if and when required as you advance in your work in Department of Atomic Energy. And secondly, and believe me, the second point is the more important point, AI is exciting. So let's first start with the very basic ideas of AI. While going through the basic ideas, we will also be going through the history of development of AI a bit, so that you get the broader picture, the bigger picture. I firmly or personally believe that until and unless someone has a broader picture of the development of a particular subject, he or she does not enjoy that particular subject. So I will teach in that way. So the first lecture is the introduction, and let's start. Artificial intelligence, AI. What is AI? AI is, it is a very fuzzy definition, a very broad definition. Many people say many things, but if I say in a sentence, it is concerned with the design of intelligence in artificial devices. While seeing this video, you can also open the PPT that has been given to you on lecture 1 PPT. Design of intelligence in artificial devices. By artificial devices, I mean non-living devices. In machines, I mean. The term was coined by a researcher, McCarthy, in 1956. But the most important question that comes out of this definition is, if AI is defined as design of intelligence in artificial devices, I can understand what artificial devices are. By artificial devices, I mean non-living devices like machines, as I told you. But what I do not understand is, what is this intelligence? Now, there are many schools of thought about intelligence. Some say that it is the ability, or I should say computational ability, which means what are the computations we are doing, computational ability to achieve goals in the world, to do some tasks, to do some work. To achieve goals in the world. Now, is this a solid definition? No, this is not a solid definition, and that's where lies the problem. The problem is that we cannot yet characterize what is intelligence, what is not intelligence. So there are many schools of thought. So we will the main idea that I want you to take home is that this is the broadly accepted approach to the word intelligence. And many people have contributed to this. AI researchers, computer science researchers, philosophers, mathematicians, many people have contributed to this. So let's now come to the definition of AI. What is the definition of AI? We humans are very human-centric. What do I mean by that? We always think that we are the best species in the world. No species is above us. No species on this planet is above us. And maybe no species in the entire galaxy or universe is above us. There's a kind of a very human-centric feeling to us. So, the first definitions of AI that has come from very earlier times is like, I will say, systems that act like humans, which means only the output of the action should be human-like. If the ultimate output of an action of a machine or an artificial device is human-like, we can call it AI. Then next we went on to one level higher, that not only the output of an action but the thinking process that led the machine to come to the conclusion that it should act like that should also be considered. So, systems that think like humans is AI. Then the third school of thought came from the philosophers, that systems that think rationally. We will hit upon this concept of rationality a bit later, and then last came the thought systems that act rationally. So, points number 3 and 4 we will visit a bit later. Okay, so these are the 4 main schools of thought about what is artificial intelligence, the definition of AI. But before going into that, all those things, I will just share 1 or 2 tidbits. A very famous AI researcher at present, Andrew Ng, he has said that as at one time industrial revolution has freed up a lot of humanity from the physical work. AI has the potential to free up humanity from a lot of mental work. So industrial revolutions were about machines that were doing repetitive jobs like fabrication of huge equipments, automatic screwing, automatic bolting, automatic welding. So those were all mechanical works, physical works that were repetitive physical works that human beings used to do. But after industrial revolution, those things were taken up by machines. Now the next step is the mental work, the thinking work, the judgmental works. All those things may be taken up by the future AI. So since we have gone into this, kind of delved into this, what is intelligence, maybe what is the plausible definition of intelligence, what are the different definitions of AI. So now we will come to the concept of test of intelligence. What do I mean by test of intelligence? If I have been given a system, can I say whether the system is artificially intelligent or not? One such test was proposed by the famous researcher and almost I can say the father of computer science, Alan Turing, and that test is called the Turing test. What is the Turing test? The Turing test is, in one room there will be 2 rooms. Let me draw. There will be 2 rooms. In one room there will be an interrogator. He is the interrogator. I think all of you know the meaning of the word interrogator, one who interrogates or questions. In the other room there will be a computer and a human being. He is human. Now, the interrogator will continuously put questions, would have, not questions, I should say textual communication with both the human and the PC. With both the human and the PC. Textual communication. Mind it. Textual communication will be there between them through some terminal. through some computer or this. And if the interrogator cannot distinguish, if this interrogator cannot distinguish through the textual communication which communication, whether if the interrogator cannot distinguish whether he is communicating with the human or the computer, means if the textual communication of the computer is at such a level that it is very much human-like, and the interrogator cannot distinguish that it is communicating with a computer rather than a human, then the computer or the software running within the computer will be said to be artificially intelligent. This test has a different name also, and on this particular name a movie was also made. It's called The Imitation Game. Right. So this was the Turing test, which Turing proposed, the imitation game, for testing whether a system is intelligent or not. But I will pose you a question now. Do you think that Turing test is actually a complete test for testing whether a system is intelligent or not? I will rather say no. Why? Because, see, let us go back. What did we talk about intelligence? The computational ability to achieve goals in the world, right? So, in the real world, there are many abilities that you require to achieve goals. Like, you have to have visual abilities, right? You have to manipulate objects in the world. You have to move them, right? So these are, and there are many other abilities. You have to navigate through the world. That is movement. So there are many abilities that you have to do, that you have to encompass to do some real works or to achieve some real goals. But there are many other abilities also. I am saying some commonplace tasks. Are these abilities at all being tested in this imitation game? No. It is only the language processing part that is being tested, but that is not the only goal. That is not the only ability that is required to achieve goals in the world. So Turing's test does not examine the machine for computer vision abilities. It also does not encompass the ability to manipulate and interact with the real world environment. The other problems are, it cannot measure intelligence. It cannot measure or quantify intelligence. The third thing is, as you can compare with the definition of AI, Turing's philosophy is, with what is he comparing the behavior of PC? Even if I am taking only language processing abilities, with what is Turing comparing with? Turing is comparing with the ability of the computer with that of a human. So he is actually believing in this approach of acting like humans, or human-like approach. Within this test of AI, he is inherently believing that intelligent behavior means human-like behavior. But some philosophers and researchers have argued that some human behaviors are unintelligent. Some human behaviors are sometimes unintelligent. So, seeing in this light, Turing's test only qualifies the machine on the basis of mimicking human behavior, and hence it may not be the complete test of intelligence of a system. So, although it was a good idea or good start to measure or qualify whether a system is intelligent or not, yet we have come to the conclusion that it is not complete.